Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca, and here on my little corner of the web I like to talk about budgeting and lifestyle, and you probably haven't seen my face in a while because I've been so busy and I'm so sorry, but today I'm finally able to get on and share my February 2022 budget wrap up. So February was a really exciting month for me and my husband. It's just the two of us and we live in the North Texas, kind of Dallas area. And we are both kind of self-employed. So I work part-time for a nonprofit, but I work from home and I set my own hours. And then I also, last year, kind of the year before that, but I really got serious last year about my personal business as an event planner. And then my husband is a contractor. He, not like a house contractor, he actually works for an architect, and but he works by project, and so he gets paid by the project, and then he's a music teacher. So I usually don't say all that, but I am saying that because this month we did our taxes and we got our tax refund, and I wanted to share a little bit more about that and how that works and looks for us as self-employed people. So you can see right here in our budget our taxes in the miscellaneous category. So in our income, I block out my employer and his two sources of income because he doesn't ask to have his income shared, but I am sharing my business income because I want to be transparent and show you what it really looks like, at least for me, to start your own business, because it's not that glamorous. This month I planned to pay myself $671, and then I actually had an expense that was more than I thought it would be, so I had less money to pay myself, which is kind of how it works. So I ended up only paying myself $661, but I had put for our expected income that we'd have $47.21, and we actually, obviously this big amount here is entirely, well, there's $1 from like bank interest, but the rest of it is from our tax refund. So that's not really real income, but our actual earned income for the month was $61.10. So we did earn $1,300 more than I'd accounted for. So that's what I mean there. And then our taxes. So how it works for us is that every single time my husband gets paid, for a project, he sets aside 22% for taxes, which is actually why I have this blacked out category right here underneath. I put his gross amounts in there, and then I use the calculator to input the total of that, 78% of the total of that in this higher place for our income, so that I never even see it or account for it as income earned, but he actually tithes off of that gross amount instead of the net amount, which is why our giving actuals are almost always a lot higher than what I have in the actual category, because he's giving off of that top amount, which is why it's lower this month, because he's already given off of all of that money that we received this month. And it's really we set aside that money, then every quarter we pay quarterly taxes, and we pay the amount that the government tells us to pay. So every year when you do your taxes, if you're self-employed, you get little slips of paper that tell you what your estimated amount is for the next year. So that's what we pay, and we keep the balance in the savings account, and then at the end of the year, whatever, we'll owe a certain amount, and whatever we have in the account above that is just a refund. So I will tell you how we spent that in just a minute, but it was really exciting, and I am an early tax person. I love doing them as soon as I possibly can. I love doing taxes. I don't know, but it is getting kind of confusing for us as we have more business stuff going on, and I think that next year I may try to hire an accountant. I don't know if the cost is gonna be worth it, but I think that it's getting complicated enough that it probably will be. So yeah. And then in our giving category right next door, like I said, that's why this number is lower than the actual, it's usually 10% because we are believers and we believe in giving to our church and local missions, which I also recently started blocking out just for more privacy for our church and for the local missions that we support. Then below that, we have our regular bills, and when I made this budget with me, I already knew all of the amounts for these bills, so none of them have changed, so it's not a very exciting category, but our mortgage is $1,200, and this may actually change soon. Because I know that we are over 20% equity now based on what the market's done and some improvements that we've done. So we should be eligible to drop PMI, but I don't know timetables, kind of like how that process looks. We don't want to get it reappraised. We want to just do like a broker's price opinion. Well, I guess say that if that's an option for us. And see if we can just easily drop it. So I need to reach out to our mortgage person. They actually sent me an email and I replied back to it asking them, but I think it was like an automated message, so I don't know that my response like went to a real person. So anyway, then our phone bills, mine is $57, Jared's is $59. We own our phones outright. Wi-Fi is $71.15, electricity $111.91. Water, sewer, trash, $85.70. Natural gas was $31.45. It was kind of lower than I thought it would be because it was cold in February. It was really cold. We had a freeze. And then car insurance was $151.93. And this one is just like being different every month, which kind of irritates me because I like having the same number that I can just copy paste over. So like next month or in March it's like $162. So I'm like, why? But I don't know. Health insurance for Jared is $160.37. Life insurance for both of us is $59.13. And my gym membership is $21.60. So our total in the bills category is $209.24. And it looks like we actually, we did have this category be a little bit less. So that's why there's a change there. And then for variable expenses, so groceries, we usually budget $372, or I'm looking at this. We budget usually $450, but we changed the budget a little bit for this month because we were going out of town. So we were out of town the entire first week of February, so I knew that we would spend, a little bit less on groceries than normal. So I dropped the budget to $400, and then we actually only spent $372.54, which was great. But in eating out, we were way over. So we actually usually budget $180, and then I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, we'll spend way less. So I put $140 in there, and then we spent more than usual. So we spent $190, and I think this is because I just have been working so much these days, especially coming back from our trip. I had a lot of work to catch up on, and I don't know, but if anyone feels this way, I'm sure everyone else does feel this way, but I just feel like I'm working all the time, like for my business, and I'm not making, obviously you see how much I'm making. I'm not making barely any money, and I know that it will come, and I'm working on it, but it's just kind of really hard, and so I just have not, I am usually the person who makes dinner in our house, but we both work full time, and I feel like I'm working more than full time right now, so between my two things, so there is just less time to make dinner, so we've been eating out more. And then gas. So this one, I know gas has gotten really, really expensive. We actually didn't spend very much because we were gone the first week, and then I also drive a Prius, so I don't use very much gas overall. And also something else that happened in February, I forgot about this, was that I hit a curb, and so I busted a rim and needed a new rim, so my car was in the shop for 2 weeks while they were waiting on a rim, so I wasn't even driving it anywhere. So we ended up spending way less in gas, $54.77, and then Jared allowance, oh my goodness, he spent $183, his allowance is $100, and I'm not, Jared, he's not a big spender, so when things like this happen, it's just kind of like, okay, let's watch our spending for next month. I don't even remember what he bought. I think there was a sale at Old Navy, and so he bought pants, and it just ended up being $83 for all the things total, which isn't ideal, but it's fine. And then I always overspend, so there's him and then there's me, and I spent $149.48, and I actually need to edit this. I bought something online, and then it didn't fit, so I returned it, but I haven't gotten the refund yet. So I bought it in February, it arrived in March, and I sent it back, so this number needs to come down, I think about $25, but because I closed out the month of February with that still in it, I think what I'll do is I'll credit that to myself for March's amount. And then Valentine's Day. Okay, so this was really unfortunate. I should have planned for an expense for Valentine's Day. I don't know why I didn't. I know that last year, I remember it was the day before a freeze, which are becoming more common in Texas, and I don't know where everyone lives, but here, it has not been common in my lifetime for there to be regular snow and like a known freeze every year, but I don't know, but past 2 years there's definitely been. And anyway, last Valentine's Day we went out and we ended up spending a lot of money, I think like $80, which is way more than we spend going out ever. And then this year I just wanted to stay home, and so I wanted to make chocolate martinis. So Jared went to the liquor store and he was in charge of buying the alcohol. So he bought $80 worth of alcohol, which I was like, oh, we'll make the martinis at home and we'll save so much money. But in the end, we spent so much money, and we have, I mean, obviously they're full bottles, and we had like this much because we made 2 martinis. So we have more of all of the alcohol. So I know like per price it was a lot cheaper, but I'm not like a big like hard liquor drinker. I don't drink very much alcohol, and I definitely don't drink that. So I'm like, when will I make a chocolate martini again? I don't know, but I've got to, because we've got so much stuff. And then I think I also got, we got each other little gifts. So I gave him like a potted plant, and he got me like little fuzzy socks. So I definitely will remember to budget for that next year. Yeah, and then subscriptions. So usually we budget $60 for subscriptions, but in February our Amazon Prime renews, so I had budgeted $200, and then I think that's like $120 of that. $130? I don't know. And then we actually only ended up spending $172.62. And then miscellaneous. This is just a catch-all category for things that don't fit elsewhere, and we try to keep it to $100. This month we spent $110.76. And then Airbnb. Okay, this one actually, oh no. Okay, I'm realizing lifetime that I actually made a mistake here. So this is kind of a long story, but I've spoken about it before, because we are going on a long trip this summer, which I know that I keep saying I'm going to film a video, and I am. I just like I'm waiting till I know more of the costs that we've spent to kind of determine, you know, like have all the information for that video. But we are going to Europe, and we're spending all of June and all of July there this summer. So we thought, why not make a little cash where we're gone, and we listed our house on Airbnb. And for a trial, we started listing it for any time that we were going to be gone. So over Christmas break, we listed it and had some people stay. And then when we went to Honduras, we had people stay too. And I bought some, and that happened, I guess it was right at the beginning of February. But then after they came, I was like, we need some more towels. I was just thinking of things like, what could I get? Like, what would Airbnb people like? If I were staying here, what would I want more of? And it was like, okay, I would want more towels. And I like nice new clean towels, not like our used towels. And I had already, like, we had already spent or allocated the money that we received from the people booking our house to the travel costs that we had for our trip to Honduras. That's how we paid for it. So the towels cost $34.68, and I was like, okay, we'll put that in a budget line item. But then I remembered, or changed how I wanted to do it, and now I've created a sinking fund, and it's kind of confusing, but I was thinking that I would like make it so that I would credit that amount of $34.68 towards our future travel or our future Airbnb guests. So the next time someone comes and say they pay us $300, then the first $34 of that goes towards paying off this amount, which is just kind of floating in our checking account buffer because we keep a buffer of $3,500. I feel like that was not very clear and it was kind of long-winded, so I'm so sorry about that. But the gist of it is that I can actually delete this off of the line item, which means that now our budget, which I already closed out, is going to be off. So I'm going to have to fix that later. But then our house... So we usually budget like $50 for house things, which would be like decorations, a new pillow, that kind of thing. But this month, because we had just done our taxes and we knew we were going to have a pretty big refund, I was just on Facebook Marketplace and I saw the best deal on patio furniture. It was someone's like old patio furniture for $200, which patio furniture is expensive. It was definitely like $1,200 worth of patio furniture at least, and so we snagged that up and we used our tax return to pay for part of that. So that's what the cost was of $205.94. And then moving down to our sinking funds. So, oh my gosh, gonna get ahead. Okay, so the first one is home maintenance, and how I do all of my sinking funds, or our sinking funds, is that I keep the balance all in one bank account and track it here on this spreadsheet, like what amount goes in each. I used to have cash envelopes that I did, but we don't spend cash, so it was really inconvenient doing that. So for February, we started in home maintenance with $511.48, and this is just for saving in case, you know, something happens. We have a plumbing, we need like a repair or something like that. And actually this month, I talked about it, I'll link my February budget with me, but I thought we were going to have a lot lower income because we were traveling for a week. I thought that Jared would not have very much project income and he wasn't teaching that week. So I budgeted for us not to have any sinking fund additions except for travel, which is like our main goal that we're working on. But actually, he ended up having more than what we normally have, or what I like budget for as the lowest amount in project income, so it was totally fine. So I did add to all our sinking funds. So that's why all of these for this month, the budget amount is 0, when usually it's like the amount that I put in. So for home maintenance, we added $100. We spent $9. I don't remember what this was, honestly, and so we ended with $602. Then with reno, this is for, we're always doing renovations. We bought kind of a fixer-upper and we've done a lot to it. Right now we're not doing anything to the inside of this house, but we are trying to save to add a studio unit in the back. So obviously, this is not like our huge financial goal this month or this year right now, but we did use part of our tax return to put towards that. So normally I would have put like $50 here maybe, but this month we used $600 of our tax return to put towards that studio apartment because we really want that to be an option for a more passive income source for us, and one that would allow us to fund more travel because we love traveling. And then we spent $18, and this was, I don't know, honestly couldn't tell you. And so we ended with $611. And then travel. So this is our main goal right now. This is where every extra dollar goes, and we started the month with $15.90. Then we planned to add $482, which was just every extra dollar. We actually added $44.60. So this amount, $37.40 of it was from our tax return, and then the rest was just like the surplus in this month's budget of regular income. And the minus amount in this category is all the expenses from our Honduras trip, so $1,071. But we actually had, so our flight was delayed, so we had to stay an extra day, which means we had to book an extra night at our hotel and an extra day with our rental car. So our costs were about $160 higher than they would have been, but I have travel insurance, so I put in a claim for that, and I have not heard back, which is why the budget, what I was saying earlier, which I hadn't closed it out yet because I'm still waiting on that insurance claim to come in, but our goal for that trip was to spend under $1,000. So if the claim like is approved and we get that refund, then we'll be golden as far as that goes. And then we have $4,980 in the amount, and now this is pretty close to funded for our Europe trip. I actually just today bought our rail passes, and then we just have, I think, like one more small hotel to book, and then we're done with like big kind of bookings, and it'll just be like daily expenses that we are saving for, like eating out there and that kind of thing. So that's really exciting. We are really excited about that trip. Okay, so for gifts, we started with $87. We added $125 and then spent $158. Both of our sisters had birthdays this month, so pretty self-explanatory. And then ended with $53. Christmas, we started with $62. We added $50 and we didn't spend any because it's February. We're not buying Christmas gifts, so we ended with $112. And then Airbnb. So this is what I'm talking about when I say that I made this a sinking fund so that I could kind of float that expense. And so that the rest of like when we have, and I'll show you, I think with March we had someone stay in our house. So you saw that income, how I kind of allocated it, and you'll see it again when I do my March wrap up. But that I put minus $34, like we spent that, and so now the account is negative $34, and then it's just replenished the next time someone comes. And then health, we had $535, we added $100, we spent $12, I don't know on what vitamins, maybe, so we ended with $622. And then auto, we started with $164, and I added $300 because I thought that that my like rim replacement and tire replacement would be pretty expensive, but then I remembered that I have discount tires like warranty, so it was actually like $25 for the replacement tires, which was great, and then like $160 or $130 for a new rim. So it was actually so much cheaper than I thought, which was great. And I didn't have to pay for that until March because that's when they finished. But yeah, so $23.76 was the cost for the new tires. So that actually really beefed up our auto fund. And I could have like put less in at the end of the month, but I thought, you know, this fund is already pretty low and we could have like a lot of expenses come up. So I'm just going to add and make it higher for peace of mind. So for sinking funds, the total we started with was $3,000 around. We added $57.35. We spent $13.28, so we ended with $73.88, which is, I think, the highest we've ever had in our sinking funds. So that's great. And then for savings, these are like more like long-term savings items. Our emergency fund is fully funded at $10,000 plus the buffer of $3,500 that we keep in our account. So we didn't add any except for we had some interest going to the account, like $100, I wish, no, $1. So yeah, that added to the account. And then our buffer, we actually, I've just been adding a little bit every month because I feel like it's, I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's going down. So I added $100. And then retirement, this one, I actually don't know if this, yeah, I always enter here the like market actuals. So like when the market opened on February 1st, we had $89.61, and I know we do not have a lot saved for retirement. We're working on it. It's slow going, but then we added $420, but then we finished with only $15 more than what we put in because we had market loss of $396. So that was pretty bad, but you know, it is what it is. And then moving over to this little pie chart that I have that shows like our expense breakdowns. So this was, obviously this is a very skewed month because of our our tax refund, because otherwise it would not look like this. Usually bills and expenses end up being like 50%, and this, all the green, which is saving, ends up being like 30 to 40% and then giving is 10%. So it's definitely skewed, but it is nice to look at it this way, and I wish it looked like this every month. So, whew, that was a long video. Thanks for getting through it. But that was my February 2022 budget wrap up, and I will see you guys in the next video to talk about our next month. So I hope you have a great week. Bye!
I don't wanna stay here